We might as well start with the AfriForum versus the ANC. In court, over land, again. Now, I want you to understand something before we even get into the details. This is not the first time these two have squared up in a courtroom, mano a mano. And it obviously won't be the last, by the looks of things.
The courts in the Western Cape, the High Court, will hear an application to challenge parts of the Expropriation Act this morning.
The AfriForum, the DA and the Institute of Race Relations want certain provisions of the Act struck down.
The President, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, Public Works, National Assembly Speaker and the NCOP Chairperson are respondents in this matter.
AfriForum says their fight against expropriation of land without compensation is in the interest of everyone in the country. The matter has been set down for 5 days until Friday.
I mean, at this point, AfriForum and the ANC have more courtroom history than most married couples have anniversaries. They should just get matching legal team jerseys at this point. They should be a professional sports jersey for ANC and a professional sports jersey for AfriForum. And then like the Springboks versus the All Blacks, they put the court battle in the stadium so that we can all pay tickets and attend. I guarantee you, they'll make some money. I just gave them a business tip, right? Sponsored by Red Bull, because these hearings genuinely give people wings. And by wings, I mean blood pressure spikes. The Expropriation Act hearing kicked off this week at the Western Cape High Court. I bet you didn't know that because the mainstream media just doesn't want to tell you. And it is going to run for 5 full days, this entire week, because apparently deciding who owns what in this country requires the legal equivalent of a Marvel movie trilogy. Except instead of Thanos snapping his fingers, we've got advocates snapping citations at each other for 120 hours straight. Now, here's the actual issue. You see, I'm going to strip this issue all the way down so that nobody needs a law degree to follow the story along. For some strange reason, South Africans suck at explaining things, and it's always made to look complicated, but it's actually simpler than you think. I mean, if I can get it, you can too. Let me explain. You see, there's a section in the Act, and I promise I will make this sound less boring than it actually looks on paper. There is a section on the Act that allows the government to take your property and pay absolutely nothing to you for it under certain conditions. 0 rand. That's literally it. Not, no, you know what, we'll pay you eventually. Here's a voucher for checkers in the meantime. No, they won't pay you. Not even a sincere apology card. Nothing. 0. Zilch. Absolute silence where a bank transfer should be. All you're going to see in that bank statement is dololo. AfriForum and the DA are standing in that courtroom because this clause is dangerously vague, that certain conditions is doing an enormous amount of legal heavy lifting for 2 words. And that vague language plus government power over property is historically not a combination that has gone well anywhere on this continent or frankly anywhere on this planet. Our government, the ANC, not our government, the ANC government, they're not my government, I didn't vote for them. They are standing on the other side saying, it's necessary for land reform and historical redress, and that the current model of buying land at market rate from willing sellers has moved so slowly over the last 3 decades that at the current pace, land reform in this country will be fully complete sometime around when we colonize Mars, basically, possibly after. Now, look, I'm going to be balanced here. All right, as balanced as I possibly can, because that's what separates me from the WhatsApp uncle who forwards voice notes at 6 a.m. with 37 exclamation marks about how the country and the world is ending today. Both sides actually have a point buried somewhere in their argument. And before you fume at me in the comment section, I need you to hold 2 thoughts in your head at the same time, which I know is difficult in this current political climate, where everyone just wants you to pick a jersey and burn the other one. But do it. You'll thank me later. Land reform in this country is not a new thing. And it's also moved at the speed of a home affairs queue for 30 years. That's real. It's not propaganda at all. And it's also not just a talking point. That is just documented, measurable, painfully slow facts. Millions and millions of South Africans are still waiting for restitution that was promised before I was even born. That is a legitimate burning justified frustration. There are people who applied for RDP homes that are still waiting for those homes. But handing the state a blank check to take property and then pay nothing with vague criteria on when that applies and very little judicial oversight built into the actual wording, knowing the history the ANC has, is also a legitimate thing to be nervous about, regardless of what your race is, regardless of your politics or which group chat in WhatsApp you're in. You don't have to pick a jersey to understand both worries are valid. In fact, if you do pick a jersey immediately without sitting with the nuance for even 5 minutes, that probably says a lot more about your Twitter timeline than it does about the actual law you hate so much. The main reason why there's so much inequality in South Africa is because of land expropriation without compensation. The Land Act of 1913, where the whites took all the land from the Khoisan, the Hottentots, the black people, the mixed people, all of them, the Indian South Africans, the indigenous South Africans. The Land Act pushed all those races to the corners of the country and made the white people control most of the land. That's a fact. The ANC is trying to reverse that, but knowing the ANC, it's a scam. They're not going to reverse it. And even if they did, then what? If you give a poor black man a farm, he's going to be a poor black man with a farm because he was never taught how to farm or do anything. Mentally empowering these people you claim to fight for is way better than just taking land and distributing it. I mean, what are you going to do if you give a random bunch of black people this giant farm and they haven't learned how to farm if their lives depended on it? What are they going to do? Buy all the cows they see there? You see, that's the problem. What I do find funny, and I promise, it is genuinely funny, is AfriForum showed up looking like they're defending the Alamo. Like this is genuinely their last stand. They came like it's the final Avengers movie. Cameras were rolling. They were wearing their best suits. Legal team was walking in like they were about to enter the massive fight against Thanos and Doomsday if they were a tag team. It was like Hulk Hogan getting into a match with Andre the Giant. Like John Cena when he knows he's going to fight Brock Lesnar tonight. The ANC's legal team showed up like they've done this 100 times. You could see a lot more confidence with the ANC over AfriForum because they rightfully should have that confidence. They have done this 100 times and they've won. Sometimes they didn't, but most of the cases like these, they've won. All right. They are basically frequent flyers at the Constitutional Court at this point. All right. The ANC should get a punch card, 10 court challenges, and the 11th one is free. Maybe with a complimentary bottle of water, a Streetwise 2, and a stress ball shaped like the Bill of Rights. 5 full days of hearings. Grab your popcorn, grab your beer, if it's not too expensive for you yet, if you haven't been cut back yet. And we'll get that story. We'll get to that story in a bit and settle in. But I just want to talk about this because whoever wins this court case is going to turn it into a campaign ad within 24 hours. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. The moment that judgment drops on this land expropriation thing, there will be a graphic on Twitter within the hour, professionally designed with a slogan, because nothing gets South Africans to the polls faster than the words, "They are coming for your land," or "We are trying to give you your land back," depending on which group chat you're in. And that's really the game here, isn't it? It's November election season, ladies and gentlemen. You've got 620 parties, 620, registered to fight for your vote and land more than almost any other issue in this country. Has the power to make people show up to vote who otherwise wouldn't bother. Fear and hope are the two most reliable engines of voter turnout, and this court case is currently manufacturing both at industrial scale.